Internal morphology of the brainstem. The brainstem is composed of midbrain, pons, and medulla. The main structures of the medulla include the medial lemniscus, pyramid, retiform body, and inferior olivary nucleus. Pons can be divided into upper part or tegmentum, separated from the basal portion or basal pons by the medial lemniscus. The basal portion of pons contains the pyramidal tracts. The midbrain can be divided into three parts: the upper part or tectum, the middle part or tegmentum, and the lower part or crus cerebri or cerebral peduncle. The main structure of the midbrain include cerebral aqueduct, red nucleus, medial lemniscus, and substantia nigra. Contents of the brainstem include: number 1, the sensory system, including the pain and temperature pathway, lateral spinothalamic tract, concerning with pain and temperature from the contralateral side of the limbs, the trigeminothalamic tract, concerning with pain from the ipsilateral side of the face. Number 2 is proprioceptive pathway, which include the dorsal column, medial lemniscus system, which is concerned with proprioception from the contralateral limbs. The motor system include the pyramidal system and extrapyramidal system, which is not well defined. The cranial nerve and nuclei. Number 4, the conscious system and autonomic nervous system. Number 5, specific systems, including ocular motor system, auditory system, and vestibular system. Number 6 is cerebellar system. The details of structure of various levels of the brainstem will be described, especially the sensory system, motor system, and cranial nerves. Now, look at the lateral spinothalamic tract, which convey pain and temperature sensation from the upper and lower limb. The first order neuron is located in the dorsal root ganglion. The second order neuron is located in dorsal horns. Axons from the second order neuron cross at the ventral y commissure and ascend through the brainstem as the lateral spinothalamic tracts. Third order neuron is the ventral posterior nucleus of the thalamus, which sends sensory radiation to the primary somatosensory cortex. The trigeminothalamic tract is concerned with pain and temperature from the face. The first order neuron is cell in the semilunar ganglia. The second order neuron is the spinal trigeminal nucleus in the brainstem. Axons from this nucleus cross the midline and form the ventral trigeminothalamic tract, ascending through the brainstem and to termination here on the thalamus, the ventral posterior-medial nucleus of thalamus, and then give out the sensory radiation to the lower part of the precentral gyrus. Next is the dorsal column medial lemniscus system, which are concerned with proprioception. The first order neuron here is dorsal root ganglia. Axons ascend in the spinal cord at the fasciculus cuneatus and fasciculus gracilis. The second order neuron is nucleus cuneatus and nucleus gracilis in the medulla. Axons from these nuclei cross at the midline to the opposite side and forming the medial lemniscus, which ascend along the whole length of the brainstem to the thalamus. Then give off the sensory radiation to the primary somatosensory cortex. Now we go to the brainstem, the medulla. Level of cervico-medullary junction. The sensory system include fasciculus gracilis, which conveys proprioception from the ipsilateral lower limb, fasciculus cuneatus, which conveys proprioception from the ipsilateral upper limb, the spinal tract of trigeminal nerve and its nucleus, the lateral spinothalamic tract, involved in pain from the contralateral side of the body. The motor system include lateral corticospinal tract, ventral corticospinal tract, the anterior horn cells, the rubospinal tract is part of the extrapyramidal system. At the level of motor decussation, including the sensory system, including fasciculus gracilis, nucleus gracilis, fasciculus cuneatus, and nucleus cuneatus, spinal tract of trigeminal nerve, lateral spinothalamic tract, the dorsal spinocerebellar tract, and ventral spinocerebellar tract. The spinal tract of trigeminal nerve is concerned with pain from the ipsilateral phase, the lateral spinothalamic tract, pain from the contralateral sides of the body. Dorsal and ventral spinocerebellar tract are involved in unconscious proprioception from the ipsilateral limbs. The motor system includes lateral corticospinal tract, ventral corticospinal tract, motor decussation, and cerebrospinal tract, which is a part of the extrapyramidal system. The level of motor decussation number 2. Number 1, sensory system includes vascular cuneatus, nucleus cuneatus, nucleus gracilis, spinal tract of trigeminal nerve, lateral spinothalamic tract, dorsal spinocerebellar tract, and ventral spinocerebellar tract. The motor system includes pyramid, motor decussation, and cerebrospinal tract. Next level of the medulla is level of sensory decussation. The sensory system includes vasculus cuneatus, nucleus gracilis, axons from nucleus gracilis and nucleus cuneatus, form the internal arcuate fiber which cross to the opposite side and form sensory decussation and medial lemniscus. The motor system includes pyramid, cerebrospinal tract, lateral reticular nucleus, which is a part of the extrapyramidal system. The cranial nerve and nuclei include hypoglossal nucleus, dorsal motor nucleus of vagus nerve, and accessory nerve. The end of sensory decussation level. Now we go to the level of mid-medulla. The sensory system includes the lateral cuneate nucleus, which is concerned with unconscious proprioception from the head. The dorsal and ventral spinocerebellar tracts, spinal tract of trigeminal nerve, lateral spinothalamic tract, which is concerned with pain from the opposite side of the body. The medial lemniscus is concerned with the conscious proprioception from the opposite side of the body. Next, the motor system includes the pyramid or corticospinal tract, the rubospinal tract, central tegmental tract, and medial longitudinal fasciculus or MLF. The cranial nerve and nuclei, including inferior vestibular nucleus, nucleus ambiguous, which supplying muscle of pharynx and larynx, the dorsal motor nucleus of vagus nerve, which is autonomic in function, the tractus solitarius and its nucleus solitarius are concerned with gustatory sensation. The hypoglossal nucleus here give off the hypoglossal nerve to supply the muscle of the tongue. Here the vagus nerve outside the brainstem. The cerebellar system includes a retiform body, the inferior olivary nucleus, and its axon crossing to the opposite side, forming the olivocerebellar fiber. The conscious system and the autonomic nervous system will include the reticular formation and the descending sympathetic pathway. The end of mid-medulla. Now we go to the rostral medulla. First one, sensory system include the medial lemniscus, which conveys conscious proprioception from the opposite side of the body. The spinal tract of trigeminal nerve and its nucleus, pain from the same side of the face. The lateral spinothalamic tract, pain from the opposite side of the body. The motor system include the pyramid and central tegmental tract. The cranial nerve and nuclei include nucleus solitarius, dorsal motor nucleus of vagus nerve and tractus solitarius, and nucleus ambiguous. The cerebellar system includes retiform body, olivocerebellar fiber, inferior olivary nucleus, and nucleus prepositus. The conscious system and autonomic nervous system will include the reticular formation and the descending sympathetic pathway. The vestibular system includes the medial vestibular nucleus, and lateral vestibular nucleus. Also, the medial vestibulospinal tract or MLF. The rostral medulla number 2. Number 1 include sensory system, the spinal tract of trigeminal nerve, the lateral spinothalamic tract, and the medial lemniscus. The motor system include pyramid, here, central tegmental tract, rubospinal tract, and the MLF. The cranial nerve and nuclei include inferior salivatory nucleus, which is parasympathetic nerve of glossopharyngeal nerve, the tractus solitarius and its nucleus, gustatory function, glossopharyngeal nerve and nucleus ambiguous. The nucleus ambiguous sends the spatial visual efferent function to muscle of pharynx and larynx. Number 4. Consciousness and autonomic nervous system include reticular formation and descending sympathetic pathway. Number 5. The vestibular system will include lateral vestibular nucleus and medial vestibular nucleus. The cerebellar system include retiform body, olivocerebellar fiber, and inferior olivary nucleus. The end of medulla. Next we go to the pons. The caudal pons The sensory system in pons include the medial lemniscus, spinal tract of trigeminal nerve, lateral spinothalamic tract. The motor system include corticospinal tract and central tegmental tract. The cranial nerve and nuclei include motor nucleus of facial nerve, the facial nerve itself, and the vestibulocochlear nerve. The consciousness system and the autonomic nervous system include reticular formation and descending sympathetic pathway. The vestibular system at this level include the superior vestibular nucleus, the medial vestibular nucleus, lateral vestibular nucleus, and the medial longitudinal vasculus or MLF. The cerebellar system include the retiform body, the brachium pontis, the pontine nuclei, at the cerebellum we will see 4 pairs of deep cerebellar nuclei, including from medial to lateral, the fascicle nucleus, the globose nucleus, the emboliform nucleus, and the dentate nucleus. Here the flocculus is a part of the archicerebellum. The auditory system includes the vestibulocochlear nerve, the ventral cochlear nucleus, and the trapezoid body. The caudal pons number 2. The sensory system include spinal tract of trigeminal nerve, lateral spinothalamic tract. and medial lemniscus. The motor system includes corticospinal tract and central tegmental tract. The cranial nerve and nuclei includes abducens nucleus, abducens nerve, the genu of facial nerve, facial nucleus, facial nerve, and vestibulocochlear nerve. The facial nucleus sends fibers to supply the muscle of facial expression. The consciousness and autonomic nervous system include the lateral formation and listening sympathetic pathway. The vestibular system includes here lateral and superior vestibular nuclei. The cerebellar system includes the midline cerebellar vermis, the brachium conjunctivum, the pontocerebellar fiber, the pontine nuclei, the brachium pontis, retiform body, and its median part called the juxta retiforme. The auditory system includes lateral lemniscus, which is concerned with hearing, superior olivary nucleus, and trapezoid body. The oculomotor system includes the medial longitudinal vasculus or MLF, the paramedial pontine reticular formation or PPRF, which is lateral gaze center, and abducens nucleus. Now, we go to the level of the midpoints. The sensory system includes the medial lemniscus, the ventral spinocerebellar tract, which causing lateral to the brachium conjunctivum, the lateral spinothalamic tract, which is lateral to the medial lemniscus, and on the ventral side of the medial lemniscus, you will see the ventral trigeminothalamic tract, which concerning with pain from the opposite side of the face. The motor system include the corticospinal tract, corticobarbal tracts, and central tegmental tract. The cranial nerve and nuclei include the trigeminal nerve, the motor nucleus of trigeminal nerve, the chief sensory nucleus of trigeminal nerve, the mesencephalic root of the trigeminal nerve, which is concerned with proprioception from the muscle of mastication and the periodontal membrane of the teeth. Next is the consciousness and the autonomic nervous system will include the reticular formation, the raphe nuclei, and the locus ceruleus. The cerebral system include the cerebral vermis, the cerebral hemisphere, the brachium conjunctivum of both sides are interconnected by the anterior medullary velum. Now, this is the brachium conjunctivum, the brachium pontis, pontine nuclei, and pontocerebellar fibers. The auditory system includes lateral lemniscus and trapezoid body. The oculomotor system includes the MLF or medial longitudinal vasculus, which control the horizontal conjugate eye movement. Now the end of midpoints. Next is the rosal point level. The sensory system include the lateral spinothalamic tract, the medial lemniscus, and the ventral spinocerebellar tract, crossing around the brachium conjunctivum. The motor system include the rubospinal tract, central tegmental tract as extrapyramidal system, and the pyramidal system here include the corticospinal, corticobulbar, and corticopontine tracts. The cranial nerve and nuclei include nerve 5 or trigeminal nerve and mesencephalic root of trigeminal nerve. The consciousness system and ANS include reticular formation, locus ceruleus, and raphe nuclei in the midline. The cerebral system includes cerebral vermis, the brachium conjunctivum, the brachium pontis, pontocerebellar fiber, and pontine nuclei. The auditory system includes the lateral lemniscus and its nucleus here. The oculomotor system includes the medial longitudinal vasculus or MLF, which control the horizontal conjugate eye movement. Next, we go to the rosal point number 2. Number 1, the sensory system includes lateral spinothalamic tract, medial lemniscus, and ventral trigeminothalamic tract. The motor system includes on the basal portion upon the corticospinal, corticobulbar, and corticopontine tracts. In the tegmentum here, You may see the rubospinal tract and central tegmental tract. The cranial nerve and nuclei will see decussation of trochlear nerves and mesencephalic root of nerve 5. The consciousness and autonomic nervous system will include reticular formation, locus coeruleus, and raphe nuclei. The cerebellar system will include brachium, conjunctivum, pontocerebellar fiber, and pontine nuclei. The auditory system through the lateral lemniscus, lateral lemniscus is auditory in function. The oculomotor system includes the MLF or medial longitudinal vasculus. The ends of pons. We go to the midbrain. At the level of inferior colliculus. Number 1, the sensory system includes here lateral spinothalamic tract, medial lemniscus, and the ventral trigeminothalamic tract. The motor system will include the rubospinal tract, the central tegmental tract here, corticospinal and corticobulbar tract in the basal portion. The cranial nerve 4 or trochlear nerve here. The consciousness and autonomic nervous system will include the mesencephalic reticular formation. The cerebellar system include the decussation of brachia conjunctiva, the pontocerebellar fiber, and the pontine nuclei. The auditory system include the tectum of the inferior colliculus, where the lateral lemniscus termination. The oculomotor system include the MLF or medial longitudinal vasculus, which control the horizontal conjugate eye movement. The end of level of inferior colliculus. Next, we go to the level of superior colliculus. Number 1, sensory system will include here as lateral and ventral spinothalamic tract. The medial lemniscus and the ventral trigeminothalamic tract. The motor system include the corticospinal and corticobulbar tracts in the middle part of the cerebral peduncle. The extrapyramidal system will include here the red nucleus, the central tegmental tract, rubospinal tract, and substantia nigra. The cranial nerve and nuclei will include the oculomotor nerve here and oculomotor nucleus. The consciousness system and the autonomic nervous system will include the periaqueductal gray and mesencephalic reticular formation. The auditory system include the peduncle of inferior colliculus and the medial geniculate nucleus. The oculomotor system in the tegmentum of the midbrain, you will see the vertical gaze center which control vertical conjugate eye movement. The visual system at this section will include the tectum of the superior colliculus, the peduncle of superior colliculus, the lateral geniculate nucleus and its efferent fiber, visual radiation. Now, at the level of the dorsal midbrain, the sensory system include the lateral spinal thalamic tract and the medial lemniscus. Number 2, the motor system will include here the red nucleus, substantia nigra, the corticospinal and corticobulbar tracts. The cranial nerve and nuclei include oculomotor nerve. The consciousness and autonomic nervous system will include the mesencephalic reticular formation and the periaqueductal gray. The cerebral system include fiber projection to the brainstem, corticopontine tract, pontopontine tract, and dentato-thalamic tract. The auditory system includes the medial geniculate nucleus. The visual system includes the tectum of the superior colliculus, which is concerning with the light reflex, the posterior commissure, the peduncle of superior colliculus, edental westphal nucleus, the pretectal nucleus is concerned with light reflex, lateral geniculate nucleus which send visual radiation to the visual cortex.